Well, let's go across to Abu Dhabi, where India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates the West Asia's first stone-carved Hindu temple. And it is in Abu Dhabi, signaling how far the United Arab Emirates has come in acknowledging different faiths of its expatriate community. You can see the visuals on your screens right now. Prime Minister Modi is there to inaugurate the BAPS temple. It is a traditional stone Hindu temple with 7 shikhars. It is built in traditional Nagar style, and the temple's front panel depicts universal values, stories of harmony from different cultures, and Hindu spiritual leaders and avatars.
Step into a 12-minute audio-visual journey. There are 24 projectors which envelop all 4 walls and even the floor, creating a 360-degree canvas that immerses you directly into the heart of the Mandir story.
We also have our correspondent Siddhant Sibbal, who is in Abu Dhabi. Let's go across to him live, and he will be joining us from there to give us the latest updates on that. Siddhant, if you can hear me, give us the latest. What can you see around you?
Well, I'm standing here at the BAPS Hindu Mandir, and the Prime Minister has arrived at the temple, and the excitement, of course, is palpable. Where I am standing, I'm just standing in front of the temple, and if my camera person can just pan towards my left, he can show you the exact place where the Indian Prime Minister will be entering the temple. So this on your screen is the place where the Indian Prime Minister will be entering, and you can see advanced party present right now. But if my camera person can also show you some kids standing who will be welcoming the Prime Minister here. They, of course, are dressed as well in traditional clothes, but essentially we know that when it comes to this inauguration of the temple, this is a very historic moment for the people of India and for the people of Abu Dhabi. Now remember that when it comes to this temple, the land was given by the UAE government in 2015. The construction started. Since then, the construction has been going on, and now this majestic structure is ready to be open to the public, and this, of course, is being opened and inaugurated by the Indian Prime Minister. Now, essentially, let me tell you that approximately 5,000 craftsmen were involved in making sure that the present structure arises, and there are intricate carvings representing various civilizations as well. Also, remember that when it comes to this temple, the volunteers also played an important role in making sure that this temple comes into its present being. But all in all, we saw the initial pictures of the Prime Minister at the temple with those who made it possible. He also visited other places as well. We are getting more visuals, but we're waiting for that exact moment when the Prime Minister arrives here, and he will be going up the temple using those staircases. Perhaps if my camera person can show you these visuals, so if you can just allow us to show some of these visuals. You can see the kids also standing on your screens as well. But all in all, it is also a homage to the leadership of the UAE as well. A very inclusive UAE, and a UAE which, of course, is seen as open to all cultures and all religion. And nobody would have thought about this almost a decade ago. And now UAE has the first traditional stone temple of not just this country but also the region. We also know that when it comes to the region, this is the biggest temple. We're just waiting for the Prime Minister. I think there's some movement which is happening. The Prime Minister is about to come. The advanced team can be seen arriving here at the location as well. So any moments now we will see the Prime Minister coming here, and the Prime Minister will be welcomed by the authorities here. We saw the welcome happening, but now you have it. The Prime Minister has arrived here at the temple. The visuals on your screen.
Right. Siddhant, you also spoke of religious inclusivity and inclusivity in general. Talking about that, a BAPS spokesperson earlier had said that this particular temple, well, the land for this was donated by a Muslim king for a Hindu mandir, where the land architect is a Catholic Christian and the project manager is a Sikh. The foundational engineer, a Buddhist, the construction company, a Parsi group, and the director comes from the Jain tradition. If you could just throw some light and, in fact, stress on the fact about the significance of this temple, and if you can just tell us a few more pointers about it there.
Well, you can see the Prime Minister now at the temple. This is the moment we were all waiting for. The Prime Minister is now almost about to enter the temple. He is being welcomed as well. You can see those visuals, and let me tell you that when it comes to the water bodies around, these water bodies represent the three rivers of India: Yamuna, Ganga, and Saraswati, the three holy rivers of of India. The Prime Minister now waving at the media standing here. This is indeed a very important and historic moment for the people of two countries, UAE and India. This is something that was seen almost impossible, and now you have it, the Indian Prime Minister inaugurating this temple which will cater to the Indian community in the region and in the country as well. Now the Prime Minister going towards the temple, the Prime Minister, of course, being shown the lotus. It is being termed as the lotus in the desert. This is a temple which is seen as an architectural wonder. Remember, the 7 spires are the 7 emirates of UAE. Right. It has 2 domes. The Prime Minister now being explained the temple and its architecture.
Okay. Well, Siddhant, as you can see around you, we assume it's only a matter of minutes when the ceremony begins. I did earlier ask you about the inclusivity factor that this temple signifies. Do throw some light how we can compare and contrast this, compare most likely to the diplomatic relations that India and UAE is seeing built between the two countries.
Well, UAE has been opening up to the world significantly, and the temple is an example of it. Now the ceremony is underway. You can hear the conch shells being played as well as the Prime Minister arrives at the temple, and he is being welcomed in a traditional way. Now diplomatically, it's a big development. It is a symbol of harmony, unity, and also connecting the two countries together, India and UAE. The UAE, if you look at its inclusive ethos, it recently welcomed the Pope. Now it has a temple, the first traditional stone temple of the region. And now, of course, this is something that will be helpful to the diaspora, Indian diaspora. Now, Indian diaspora is 38% of the total the highest number of ethnicity for any country, and they, of course, form an important part of the Emirati society. They, of course, have been playing in the development of the country, and essentially for the Indian community, for the Hindu community, this temple is a symbol of a very inclusive inclusive UAE, a UAE which is welcoming to people from across the world. Maybe we can show you better visuals. Now we are heading towards the place where Prime Minister was there a short while ago. Now essentially the Prime Minister is going towards the temple, and this is on your screens the live visuals of the temple, and the Prime Minister, of course, is at the temple. He will be shown around the temple, the intricate carvings, the carvings which represent the various civilizations. And also, let me tell you that this temple has carvings of camels as well, which is a symbol of UAE, the endurance and the determination in many ways of surviving in harsh climate. So this is a temple that blends the Indian and the Emirati culture, and also brings together the two countries as well.
Right, Siddhant, very interesting inputs and visuals that you're getting us there live from Abu Dhabi right now. Now, ahead of its inauguration by Prime Minister Modi, the BAPS Hindu Mandir was consecrated. And just to remind the viewers, earlier today at the World Government Summit in Dubai, the Prime Minister asserted the world's needs inclusive governments that take everyone along and are free from corruption. He said his fundamental principle has been minimum government and maximum governance. Now, on the sidelines of the World Government Summit, Prime Minister Modi also met his UAE counterpart Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. He held wide-ranging talks on bilateral cooperations, trade, investment and other topics. And in another bilateral meeting, the Prime Minister held talks with the President of Madagascar, which was also in Dubai. Both leaders appreciated the close cooperation between the two countries in various multilateral fora, including the United Nations. And of course, on Tuesday, Prime Minister held talks with UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan in Abu Dhabi. Both signed several agreements and MOUs on bilateral investment, electrical interconnection and trade, digital infrastructure projects and interlinking of payment platforms. Now, as part of his two-day visit, thousands of members from the Indian diaspora greeted the Prime Minister Modi and the Alan Modi event at Abu Dhabi's Sports Stadium. This is where the diaspora greeted him. Now, talking about India-UAE ties, of which the BAPS temple can serve as a great demonstration. The two nations are among each other's top trading partners as well. For years, now the bilateral trade touched about $85 billion in 2022-23. The UAE is also among the top 4 investors in India in terms of foreign direct investments, and in 2022-23. So those are the figures that we have. Let's again go across to these visuals. As you can see on your screens, Prime Minister has begun the ceremony. Just as our correspondent was telling us, Siddhant was telling us about the architectural marvel that this temple is. Just to tell you a few more features about it, it was judged the best mechanical project of the year 2019 at the MEP Middle East Awards and the best interior design concept of the year 2020. Now, among the key architectural features are the 96 bells, the gormukhs installed around the path leading to the temple. Now, these 96 bells are a tribute to the Pramukh Swami Maharaj. It's his 96 years of life, and these 96 bells are a tribute to that. The nano tiles have been used, which will be comfortable for visitors to walk on even in the hot weather. Now, UAE, as we know, experiences harsh summer conditions, and that has of course been incorporated when trying to design this particular temple. Our correspondent Siddhant was also telling us about the shikhars, how the 7 shikhars represent the 7 emirates of the United Arab Emirates. And I'm told by the team that we have been able to re-establish a connection with Siddhant. And Siddhant, if you could just again update us, tell us what you see around you, how is the ceremony progressing, give us the live updates.
Well, there's a lot of movement here, so pardon me for the things not being very stable here, but that is how things are sometimes on the ground. But we just saw the Prime Minister entering the temple. We saw those visuals of the Prime Minister being welcomed by the ceremony as well. And right now the Prime Minister has gone inside the temple. We saw the conch shells being blown, and in a traditional way the Indian Prime Minister was welcomed at the temple. Now, essentially this was the moment that everyone was waiting for, given the fact that the two-day visit, this was seen as the highlight, the first Hindu temple, the traditional stone temple in UAE, in this country, something that was unimaginable a few years ago, almost a decade ago. And then, of course, we saw the graciousness of the Emirati leadership and perhaps the openness, inclusiveness, the tolerant nature of the Emirati authorities, the UAE president, and that led to this day coming to reality. Now, we have seen the Indian Prime Minister several times referring to the UAE President as his brother, the UAE President also referring him as a brother. And today, one of the interesting headlines which I saw in the newspapers at the Khalij time was the Prime Minister's quote that it's great to meet you, my brother. So that, of course, is seen as a personal bond between the two leaders. But all in all, when it comes to this grand structure is seen as a rose or in the desert, something that is truly inspiring for many. Now, this place is located on the Abu Dhabi Dubai highway. So if you're going from Abu Dhabi to Dubai, you'll see this temple. If you're coming from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, you'll see this temple, and it's equidistant essentially, that halfway to Dubai, halfway to Abu Dhabi. So people from both the regions can come to this temple, and we know that when it comes to the Indian community, they're very excited. There are other temples in the UAE as well, but this is something which is the first traditional temple. It has 7 spires which have been inspired by the 7 Emirates of UAE. It has 2 domes, and we have been talking about the construction resources, but it is the significance of this moment. It is the significance of being present on the ground on this historic day. That is something that many of the people, when they go back, they will take with them lifetime of memories.
Right, Siddhant Sibal there joining us live from Abu Dhabi, from the BAPS temple, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived for the inauguration of the temple. Siddhant also spoke about the camaraderie between the two leaders. Well, earlier when PM Modi reached UAE on Tuesday, which is February 13th, he was received at the airport by President Zayed, and the two leaders hugged each other. Those are the live visuals that you have been getting on your screens, and we will keep getting you all the live updates from this particular inauguration. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.